Alright, so the way we are going to proceed here is we're not going to have a whole bunch of different import statements and try and switch based on that, because that will get to be rather annoying. Instead, we'll have an array, and we'll use a particular type of syntax, an array of data, and a specific syntax that allows us to embed dynamic images. But before we can get started with that, we'll need to actually download a couple of these images. I'm not going to download all of them. We'll go with just a couple from day and a couple from night. Export. So that's group 119. Make sure I get the right ones. 130. Alright, I'll open my downloads directory. Those I can get rid of. And drag these into our assets directory. Now we're going to have two, I forget which these are. So this is cloudy, but we're going to have two called cloudy, right? And two that are clear. So we want to divide these into dark and light. And yes, you could do this, but instead let's make subdirectories. So new folder, day, and then another new folder, night. And this is cloudy in the day. This is sunny, but I seem to recall that maybe there isn't a field called sunny. Where do I have the weather conditions? There's clear. So that's probably what we'll want to call this. So rename that to clear and put it in the daytime. And then this is cloudy for the nighttime, and this is clear for the nighttime, right? Make sure. Yep. And then we can just move both of these into the nighttime folder. That'll help us keep them nice and organized. Now, back to WeatherCard.js. And actually, I might as well get it set up the right way the first time. We will put the array of data in our constants file, because that's probably the best place to put it. And we'll need to export it. Call it weather options. It's going to be an array. I feel like we could also make use of an object here that might work even better, but we'll just go with this. So what we need is one entry corresponding to each of our weather conditions. And to fully describe them, we'll need a property that says whether it's daytime or not. And we'll need a property that specifies the condition. It needs to be a string. And then we need a property that specifies the URL. But here we need to use a particular syntax. And you saw this syntax in the lesson on dynamic images. No, I don't remember this off the top of my head. I am referring to something on my other screen. So the way it looks is new URL. This is a built-in method. I thought maybe something would pop up if I hovered over it, but apparently not. Built-in JavaScript method that lets us build a URL. And then what we need to do is specify a file path. And the file path needs to be relative to the current folder. And actually, the reason that it needs to be relative to the current folder is because of this second argument that we're giving, import.meta.url. That says make this path relative to the current folder. So we're in constants, we're in the utils directory. We need to get to assets, so we need a dot dot assets slash, this is daytime, slash clear. All right, and then we need one for cloudy. And then we need, actually, here, easiest way. Maybe it's the easiest way, I'm not sure. I'll copy both of those, and I'll change day to false, and this to night. And I just realized that I am forgetting one important part. And that is that we need to access the href property, which is going to actually give us the link that we'll need to embed into the src property. Right, and like I've said, you would add a bunch more things to this array to account for all the different weather conditions. Okay, so next we can go back to our WeatherCard .js and import weather options. Okay, it's not prompting me to import weather options. I don't know why. We need curly braces because we're just exporting, not export default. And utils slash constants. We can just get rid of that. Okay, so now we need to do a little bit of work here. We need to find the correct entry in the weather options field. And how exactly are we going to do that? Well, it's an array, and we can use the filter method. So const option, or you could say weather option, no s, this is going to be the one that we find here, equals weather options dot filter, and this argument just represents each item in the array, so it'll be first this one, then that one, etc. And what we need to do is we need to find one that matches both the day and the condition. So we want to return, and I would recommend trying to figure this out yourself before proceeding, because it's very good to be able to figure that out. But we need to check whether the options day field is the same as weather data dot is day, because I'm pretty sure that's what I called it, right? You could figure that out by well, referring back to here, yeah, is day. And weather data also has a condition property, and we need to check whether the option, we'll use the AND operator, check whether the options condition field equals weather data dot condition. And so this here, as long as there is a match, this will return the correct match, I believe. So let's take a look, and Where are we looking? Go to here. And all right, that broke, but that's fine. How do we test this? Well, what we can do is weather option dot URL. Yeah, that'll work for now. Go back here, refresh the page, and seems like maybe that is not data.condition. Alright. Let's see what mistake I have made. Weather data has a condition property and it has an isDay property. Weather options has something that has, yeah, there should be a match, shouldn't there? Alright, let's go here. What is weather option? Okay, of course. That's my fault. Weather option is actually an array, which is a little confusing. So what we need is the 0th element of this array and the URL from it. Because let me show that again here. Weather option is an array with one element in it, the found element, and that's just exactly what happens with the filter method. It returns an array that's been filtered subject to the conditions that you left in it, that you provided to it. So what we now need is let's see, weather option URL equals weather option filtered options. That seems a little better to me, a little more obvious, because it is an array, it's not an option. Filtered options brackets 0, so the first one. So potentially, say you stuck two matches in there, then you would just return the first one, which is fine. Dot URL. And let's see here. Oh, I broke it. This would then need to be weather option URL, not dot URL, because we're already doing dot URL up here. Now refresh. Can't read properties of undefined, reading URL. So this is a common enough thing that you run into with React, and if filtered options is empty, so if React will come by and it will kind of do a run through of things, and sometimes not all the data is present, and I think that's what's happening here. The weather data has not arrived from the server, so when I try to access the URL property, it breaks. But we can be defensive about it and stick a question mark there to use optional chaining, and now, okay, yep. And do you see it's showing the nighttime clear sky. So what this does is it says try if this is undefined or null, don't try and do this, which just prevents an error from occurring. But it's not really a full solution. So it's fine right now, but consider this. So it's nighttime and clear, right? What if I didn't have a card with these weather conditions? And we actually we didn't provide you with the full set. And there's also like they even have like we don't have a tornado card or a volcanic ash card for you. Um, so what are you going to do if the weather condition is volcanic ash and you don't have a volcanic ash card in your weather options? Well, I'll simulate that by just commenting this one out and we'll see what happens. Nothing. You know, I've got just an empty item, no image. This also reminds me, oh yeah, this is a problem. We don't really want it just to always say sunny, but that's easy. We can just do like this. No, not URL. Alt. No, it's condition is what it is. Condition. Oops. That's not exactly what I was expecting. Alt text is not there. Well, I'm sure there's a good reason for that. It's undefined. Filtered options, bracket 0, condition. There's a condition property right there. Why would it be undefined? Of course it is undefined because of the very thing that I'm doing here, because I'm ensuring that it will be undefined. Here, now if we check the alt, it says clear. So, my fault. That was a failure to think things through there. You could even do something like this. Now we'll just leave this here. Card showing clear weather. You could improve it by doing card showing. You could because I didn't call it day in those objects. It is day. I called it day. So here, card showing. Oh no, that's not going to work. You would have to get a little fancier and do something like showing night clear weather, you know, something like that. Nighttime clear weather. That's beautiful. I can't say I'm really too crazy about this here, having all these different variables. So a way to improve this would be to do const weather option equals filtered options 0, and then just do like this. making sure to put the optional chaining question mark here. And goes before the dot. And so basically I'm just removing a bit of extra code here, and it should behave exactly the same. You see the alt text appears exactly the same. So yes, I think that's preferable there. All right, so we're doing pretty good, right? But now back to where we were, where I before I got distracted. Let's remove this. Oop. It says card showing nighttime undefined weather. So what do we do about this? We need some sort of a default. And so one way that we could do this is, let's go to Figma. And can we find just the color? Is it the rectangle? Yeah, see, that's just the color. I'll export that. Rectangle 42. And same thing over here. I will look for just the rectangle. Rectangle 42-1. Now, so this one is, oops, nighttime. This one is daytime. I'll call it default. Default. And how do we want to set this up? Well, we would have to do, let's see, how can we do this so that if weather option is empty, if filtered options is empty, then we need to use the default instead. So what we could do here is we'd have to do another filtering, wouldn't we? Let's do it like this. We'll go back here to constants.js and we'll export something else. Export const default weather options, and make this an object. Maybe I should have made the other one an object to begin with, but I didn't. And so what we can do is copy this. I'm just going to give it a URL for now. And default is the file path. Default. Pull default weather options out of here. And I'm sure we could do this as a ternary. Maybe let's do it like this. I'll make it more explicit. I'll do it like with an if-else. If filtered options dot length equals 0, that means we did not find an option that will work for us. And in that case, we are going to need to use our default. Otherwise, we can do this. Except we need this const to be available outside. So what we can do is use a let instead. You may remember this from Sprint 9. You did something similar because you needed to be able to, with like the section class, it's the same idea here. You can't assign something to a const or a let inside an if-else construction and expect to be able to use it outside. It doesn't work that way because these are block scoped. So we can just do that. And just to make sure this is we have this set up all right, I'm just going to test this out, reinstate the card that matches the current weather condition, and go back here, refresh the page, and it seems like we're good, right? It's working. Now if I remove this, it's not good, but we can make it good. And what we can do is just default weather options, brackets. We need to select one of these, right? And which one we choose is entirely determined on whether it's day or night, which we can determine from the weather data object. And we can use, so if it's daytime, we want to grab the one with day. If it's nighttime, we want to grab the one with the property name is night. And I think that's it. And just take a minute to look closer at that and see what we're doing. We're just indexing into, with object indexing, this object and choosing either day or night depending on whether it is day or night. And doing this here is making me realize that I feel like we could have maybe done it cleaner using an object and not having to filter, but that's okay. Now let's see. Well, okay, so it is showing the default, but that is the daytime image, and that's why, because I specified the wrong image. There we are. So we've got default set up. I want to make sure to uncomment that. So the next steps for you would be to well, basically add all the rest of these and fill in the rest of the weather options. And other than that, I think it's pretty much done. Although I have a feeling that maybe the alt text doesn't work. No, it should. The alt text won't work well if the default weather option is being used, because the default weather option, I did not give it a day or a condition property. So you could easily resolve that by giving it a day property and then a condition property that you could make use of in some way here to you know, if, or omit the condition property, and if there's no condition property, just don't say anything about the condition. So anyway, that's about all there is to this aspect of the program, of the project. Good luck with the rest of it.